We're seeing these amazing designs coming in.
Rooms and taverns and courts, locations and color palettes. It's gorgeous. It's epic.
It's beyond all expectations.
To see it all for the first time, I went and I sat in my car and I just started crying because I was like, I can't believe this is real.
So I'm guessing they're going to be talking more about the locations,
The
like the different
trajectory of
locations.
this story.
What I'm gonna guess that they're gonna be talking about like the different locations in the Vox of Machina, like the world of Vox Machina. They're gonna be talking about Whitestone, Taldore, where else? Amon, and wherever the fuck Brian, Silas and Delilah came from. I don't know where they came from, but I'm hoping they talk about where they came from, like kind of like a little backstory.
Over the years has constantly defied our expectations. The size and the scale of it has felt so large and sweeping to us in our minds. And so you think, what could possibly live up to it? And the team at Titmouse has really been answering the call.
Titmouse
never
is one
heard
of the
of
best
the
animation
studio.
studios around.
That's
Period.
They check all the boxes. They've got animation cred up the wazoo. They've worked on funny
they've won
shows,
awards.
dramatic shows. They've done it all.
It truly feels
Nico
like a
and the Sword
company
of Light.
made of nerds. Just like our company.
Made of
We instantly
nerds.
felt a kinship and a shared language. It kind of lowered the barrier to entry.
The people at the top who define the culture and the attitude of the studio are themselves huge nerds, super into this stuff. And not just for me, but for them, this is kind of the dream project because we're sort of living out our dream of finally getting to create this type of property.
They aren't wanting to take, something that we've created and turn it into something completely different. They want to honor what it was that we did.
Everyone
Oh,
else.
wait, that's the character that plays Vexalia? Hold up. Laura Bailey. Oh, I think I heard her name somewhere when I was checking on when season 2 was going to drop.
And turn it into something completely different. They want to honor what it was that we did.
Everyone else seems genuinely as excited to be a part of this as we're excited to have it happening.
Did he dye his hair?
I'm proud
just
to count
noticed that.
myself among the critters.
My man
I was
Matt
one of the
dyed his
90,000 to back this project in the first place. I had no idea I was going to be on it.
I remember very distinctly getting my eyes on some of Arthur Loftus, our art director's first background pieces, and just being stunned.
Not only is
Look
he a
at the
professional artist and
details,
designer, he's
man.
also a big critical
Oh
role
my
fan.
God.
So the fact that you've got somebody who really knows the show, who's designing things even down to minute detail, like even Matt
Yeah,
Mercer's
exactly.
like, oh
Look
yeah,
at
I
the
forgot about that, but
details.
Arthur hasn't forgotten about it. Like he's put it in the show.
And that's something you just don't get in any animated series. Usually the executive producer has to explain to the art director the feeling that he's trying to evoke or she's trying to evoke, but Arthur knows that feeling because he watched it live.
A lot of the vision does come from Arthur, but then where I add to it is how to make the world seem really alive and believable. My role as supervisor and director is to really coordinate and work with the story team. We're literally translating idea into visual and finding opportunities to really push.
Oh, is this the Tavern where this is the Tavern in season 1, right? Where Vox Machina got kicked out because they drank the lady's alcohol and didn't pay up. It looks kind of similar. I can't tell if it's the exact same one though. There's supposed to be like a back room towards the right, but I don't see it. But it should be. It should be the same place.
Those moments to make the world feel that much more integrated.
Sunjin works on all the episodes, and he's got the big picture, the 10,000-foot view about where the story is going over the course of the season, where the story is going over the course of the series.
He is so dedicated to making sure that
Oh,
it
there is a
feels
Bodhi.
right for
There's
The
a
Legend of
Bodhi
Vox
together.
Machina.
I have never felt more confident in letting other people handle a vision of mine than already seeing what they're doing with it. The whole team.
We're getting to revisit all these great locations that we explored in the...
Okay, let's do a quick look. The Rifleman's Peninsula. We have Singon over here, Stabler. I don't see any place I recognize. Where's Taldore? Where's Whitestone?
original Vox Machina campaign that we played through live. Locations like
It didn't
Amon.
show.
Iman is
Oh,
very
Iman
much
is over
the
here.
central fantasy
There you go.
metropolis of this continent, at least from a
So
human
where's
society
Whitestone
standpoint. And
and
so these first
Tal'Dorei?
episodes really kind of introduce us to that place.
The initial sketches that Arthur did of Amon were so striking and so epic in scale and scope that we had to go back and look at Matt's original
bro.
drawings and be like, is this right? Does this match? And it does. He took what Matt did on a 2D piece of paper and turned it into a 3D world.
I think when you think of Iman compared to other fantasy cities that you know, like Rivendell, there's going to be a certain familiarity to Amon because it's kind of like a fantasy New York. There are elements to it that I think
Like the tall
everyone can
buildings, the
recognize.
grass.
Stylistically, we just wanted to give people a nice way
And a
to
nice
sort
little
of
view.
slip into this medieval fantasy world without being too challenged with the weirdness of like all the other stuff that's going to come later.
Beyond Amon, there are a few locations that we get to explore in the animated series first season. Early in, we get to visit the Shale Steps, which is a place that was not seen in the campaign streamed-wise. It's a coastal fishing city
Shale
among
Step?
a unique-looking cliff range
I
that
don't
itself looks
remember-
like waves frozen in the motion of crashing onto a shore.
I don't
And
remember
then
that
Vox
location.
Machina, as you know, makes a journey from Amon to Whitestone. And even
Oh,
the
there's
journey that they
Whitestone.
take, Arthur has taken, again, early maps that Matt drew up and turned them into real places with transitions from forest to desert to jungle to mountain.
We're looking at different landscapes existing in the real world, taking ideas from each of them and sort of assigning them locations within the critical role world. For example, when we get closer to Whitestone, things look a bit more like Yosemite. It's the Alabaster Sierras, so we picked from the actual high Sierras and took those shapes and the way the trees look and the way the vegetation
Oh, wow.
spreads across them and assigned it. Our other large location for season 1 is going to be Whitestone. The architectural language we
infamous
really wanted to
Whitestone.
play with and make sure that it felt authentic.
He went back into the history
And
of
let's
the
not
world
forget
and
the
the history of the
Sun Tree.
continent and thought, if people had sailed here via boat, what would their architecture look like?
So all of our buildings kind of have this feeling of like a ship's bow coming out of the ground. All the rooftops have sort of that sloping ship's hull sort of shape to it.
And that's something that none of us
Wait,
would.
what? I didn't know Whitestone was close to a body of water. Cause Vox Machina took like a horseback to go to Whitestone, if I remember correctly. I actually did not know that. That's actually cool. I thought that it was like a. I thought Whitestone was like in the middle of like a dense forest, you know. I didn't know it was like close to like the sea or like a river or something.
Would have ever thought of. Not even Matt, really.
You can't really mention the city of Whitestone without mentioning the Sun Tree.
Facts.
The first time I saw the
The
sun tree,
infamous white sun tree.
So epic.
I've seen some fantastic iterations of the Sun Tree. What Arthur dropped on us the first time that we saw the Sun Tree literally made our jaws drop.
I'm personally more a fan of the small moments, so Gilmore's Goods.
It's something that we've pictured in our head for so long of what Gilmore's Glorious Goods looks like. There's so much detail, it's very specific. That was another thing that kind of took me by surprise is sort of the work
look
that
at Pride
everyone put in
Trickfoot.
to understand the world that we've been playing in for the past 5 years. And it's beautiful, it's so good.
All of our locations are very unique from each other, and we've gone to great lengths to make sure that every element we include in every scene really expresses the world as clearly and takes it further than whatever we were originally seeing in the stream online.
You really feel like these are drawings of real places and not just a quick sketch of a random temple.
All starts on paper, a bunch of just words describing characters in a story. Then we start to try and visualize it with Arthur and his team.
It's a multi-stage process. We start with storyboards.
Wait. So this the Vox should I say Vox Machina? The world of Exandria started as a campaign. It's more so this was like, it started off as kind of like a play, right? Where people have like assigned characters and you have to like read their lines to like, get the feel of the play. Because I know I did a few plays myself when I was in middle school, right? Middle school, yeah. I did a couple plays when I was in middle school. So everybody gets like a script, you read your lines, and there's not like any visual. I mean, they have some props, but it's not like, as majestic as, Vox Machina. Just like, maybe like a stool or something.
That we're working off of that sort of give us an idea what the shot is, where characters are going to be standing, and what the general action of the scene is. And then a background designer is going to take that storyboard and just really flesh out the composition, figure out what design elements we want in there. A background painter takes it next, adds lighting. That lighting is basically used to enhance the storytelling moment.
A really good background by itself without anything else evokes emotion. It tells you instantly what the scene is going to be like.
It's a lot like a DP for live action. You're trying to express what the story is telling you through
like if
light
a scene
and
has
color.
like a
When
really
it comes, not even
dark
just to
type of-
animation, but film in general,
type of imagery,
framing is
you
everything.
already know it's gonna be
Wherever
like
you
a-
place your characters and wherever you place your action is
That's
going to
the
have an
scene
intense
that's gonna
impact on how the audience feels and how the audience relates to what's happening.
It's wild to do all these different things and then have them slowly converge into one final piece of media.
We have many, many more months of production ahead of us.
We're getting into the nitty-gritty of it.
It's a never-ending circle of work and creativity and energy that's going into the series.
Finally,
These
all of
people
this
better
work,
be getting
it's all
paid
come
some
to
good
fruition.
money.
We are
man.
really trying to elevate ourselves to
Seriously.
create an animated show
They
that
better be
we've
making
never done
bank.
before.
I think the fans and critters are going to be floored by what we've made for them.
You ain't seen nothing yet.